Thank you very much for reminding me, and to thank my dear friend Rebetz and Faye. Really, I cherish our friendship and look forward to many years together. So, why am I talking about this? And the truth is, we have instincts. We have instincts. We live with instincts. The Gemara tells us there are three things we share with animals. One is the manner in which we reproduce, that urge, the instinct that lends us to reproduce, the instinct to eat, and that we relieve ourselves similarly. And I was thinking, today I want to continue the theme. I'm not necessarily going to do this every night, but this week we've been going on the theme of Gvura. Gvura is about, exhibiting self-control. And tonight is Yesod Sheba Gvura. Tonight, Mit Hashem, tonight will count, is Yesod Sheba Gvura. And what does it mean, Yesod Sheba Gvura? Who is Yesod and Sheba Gvura? And it's known that Yesod corresponds to Yosef and his Nisayan, and Gvura is, of course, the Midah of Yitzchak Avinu. And it's interesting that by both of them, they're the only ones where we have a direct reference in the pasuk to urges, these urges that we share with animals. One is by Yitzchak Metzachik as Rivka, and of course the Nisayan of Yosef with Ashes by Tifar. And also, if I'm not mistaken, it's the only two that are reported. Yitzchak sits and eats with the members of Plishtim when he makes a pact with them, and it says by Yosef, "Vayishkru ima," he drank, and so eating and the instinct that we have is depicted obviously by Yesod. That's the strongest instinct that we have, and of course, but the Gemara tells us that instinct and the instinct of eating is too, lechem asher oichel is a metaphor for all urges. So the truth is, we have instincts, and I think Yesod Shel Gevura, what that's teaching us is that if you accomplish the mission of perfecting the Midah of Gevura, then it translates even into the most basic instincts that we would sometimes think is out of our control. One can refine it so that these instincts, of course, they're purposeful, they're glorious. It's a metaphor for the relationship with us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But Yitzchak Metzach is bedafka with that instinct, and the eating that he did with the people of Plishtim, the eating es halechem, es ha'oichel, that matamim asher yoyev, he tells Esav. He's the only one who talks about eating and loving eating. So when you have the ability to live with the life of Gevura, and you understand that Hashem gave us tools, and you hone your skills to be able to gain a control of your entire being down to the most base yesod of what we are, our most physical instincts, and you control that. That's Yesod Shel Gvura. That's Yosef HaTzadik, because that's what our mission is. And that's why humorously I started with the eating, but eating is part of it. In other words, the instincts that we have are given to us to perfect ourselves, which makes us, as I spoke many often, greater than Malachim, because Malachim don't have that ability. We have an urge, and we take those urges and transform them into the most exquisite expressions of Avodas Hashem. And Avodas Hashem, one is the metaphor for the relationship with Hashem, and the Avodas HaKavanos, which is Achila. Because when you perfect the Yesod Sheba Gevura, the Midah of Yitzchak and the Midah of Yosef, and then you get to the most basic, and then it becomes part and parcel with you. That is the thought that I was thinking about today. And I was thinking that also, as I often parallel, there's the 48 ways that the Torah is nickness, the kinyanim that the Torah is nickness. Today corresponds, according to the standard one, is Yishuv Adas. Because what does it mean, Yishuv Adas? The way a person becomes able to transform even his instincts into a free will choice and to utilize them with the most exquisite and proper manner that is the vehicle for perpetuating this world, the vehicle for nourishing ourselves and giving us energy to do Avodas Hashem. The manner in which you do that is with Yishuv Adas. And I'd like to suggest that Yishuv Adas means mindfulness, to be aware of everything that we do. When a person lives with a heightened sense of mindfulness, which is what Yishuv Adas is, and we're not animals, as we started off the discussion of Sfiras Haimer. Sfiras Haimer goes from the counting from the Minchas Haimer, which is barley animal feed, and we elevate ourselves to the most exquisite shtei alechem on Shavuos, that which is the most refined food for man. And that is the avodah of Yesod Shel Gevurah. And I wanted to share something I saw, very powerful, and although it relates to the areas of tznius and sometimes the challenges that young women or women in general have with the matters of tznius, but I think the Yesod is something that can be applied to every one of us in whatever instinct that we're dealing with, and refining and understanding where it is that we have to find that perfection to get to the level of Yesod Shel Gevurah, which is really what being a Yid is all about. Because being a Yid is about getting to that point where we get the Gevurah that goes down to the most basic elements of who we are and encompasses us fully till the Yesod, until the foundation. It's only with that you can build healthily. So there's a magnificent book on the 48 Ways of Torah's Nickness from what's his name, a famous writer. It'll come to me his name, oh man, I can't believe it. And it's on the 48 Ways. It'll come to me. He writes in the Indian magazine. He writes weekly a story. I always quote him, but anyway, it'll come to me. I don't know how it just suddenly went out of my mind. Nachman Seltzer, and he writes about a story about a young woman a teenager who had a really hard time with the instinct to self-expression, which, you know, boys and girls have, but certainly girls have a greater challenge with that. And the need the desire to dress in a way that she felt would express who she is. And sometimes it borders on the issues of tznius. And the parents had a real rough time. And they were trying their best to walk the tightrope. And one day she comes home after a shir, lives in a shir on Shabbos, and she's transformed. She walks in like a princess, with radiant and with a certain humbleness and humility and modesty that she never exhibited. And they ask her, "Honey, what happened? Where do you come from? You seem exhilarated." So he says, "You know, I finally heard a shir that spoke to me." As a Rebbitzin, doesn't say who it was. She went to a shir, and the Rebbitzin shared the following mashal, and I want to bring this mashal as what I think is the sum total of all I'm trying to say today. And the Rebbe told a mashal about peaches and diamonds. Maybe you heard it. I'm going to share it. It says like this. The woman said, first of all, the woman spoke to us without being judgmental. She spoke to us honestly and warmly, without judgment, and it certainly allowed us to open our ears to hear. And this is the mashal she gave. And he said the following. I'm going to quote you exactly. Peaches are really a delicious fruit. Who doesn't love a peach? Let's say you're in the mood to buy a peach. What do? It's easy enough, very simple in fact. Just leave your home, walk down the street, and find the nearest fruit store. There you'll find a huge pile of peaches, enough for everyone in the neighborhood. The peaches just sit there on the stand, available for every person in old times to touch and squeeze and see if they're firm enough and if the consistency is the way you like it. So you touch a few of them, select 3 or 4, and pay for what you purchased. Not too complicated. That's the way it works when you're in the market for a peach. It says, now let's say you need to buy a diamond ring. Shopping for a diamond is a whole different experience. Instead of an open-air display, the jewelry shop is equipped with closed-circuit set cameras for maximum security, and you can't enter the establishment unless someone buzzes you in. Once inside, you find yourself in a wondrous world of mirrors, soft, recessed lighting, and the luminous glow of tasteful gems. After browsing for more than an hour, you finally decide what type of diamond ring you want. You'd like nothing more than to try it on, but you can't, because every piece of expensive jewelry is under lock, key, and alarm. The only way you'll be able to examine or try on the ring that interests you is by asking the woman behind the counter to unlock the case, otherwise no dice. The big question every single person should be asking herself is, what do I want to be in life? A peach or a diamond? A peach which anyone off the street can touch and throw from hand to hand, or a diamond of elegance and beauty, cherished by its owner and accessible to only one select and worthy individual. I don't think there's a person alive who would rather be a peach than a diamond. And none of us can afford to leave it at the philosophical level, where one knows that this is what she should be doing, but doesn't because it's just too hard. This is something that affects every aspect of our lives, both now and in the future. In the end, it will boil down to how much Torah enters that person's home and the lives of a children, husband, and ultimately our own lives as well. It's truly a challenging battle, but one worth fighting for. And I think that's the Yesod Shel Gevurah. that a person has to view himself as the Yitzir Kapav of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we emulate Hashem, gives us, he's the Gibor, Hashem is Hakel HaGadol, HaGibor, Valera, and he wants us to rise to the challenge in our Gevurah. And we can take the Gevurah to the ultimate end, because if we look at ourselves as diamonds and we realize that the exquisite instincts Hashem gave us can be used for the greatest accomplishments that, as I said, and I often say, is the metaphor for our relationship with Hashem. And the most basic instinct to simply stuff our faces is the expression of eating karbanos, engaging in karbanos, which through eating we affect the kapara, the kaihan and the bailam eskaprim, the ability to take instincts. That takes a mindfulness of realizing that we're diamonds. And if we look at ourselves, whether it's in Yoni Tznius, both men or women, or other areas of instinct that so often distracts us from getting to where we got to get to, because sometimes our instincts just push us away from what we know. Often we know what we should be doing, but we don't have the mindfulness. If we maintain the mindfulness that we are diamonds and not beaches, we will achieve that level of Yesod Shebegvura, to take the Gevurah and the strengths that we discover within us, that Hashem gave us the capacity to elevate our most basic foundation and bring it to a level that's higher than Malachim. That is the Yesod Shebegvura. That is Yitzchak the Tmima. That is Yosef Tzadika. That's the combination of Yesod Shebegvura that we have to work on in Yemei Sfira as we head towards that great day. We're going to relive again the great moment of Nasa Nishma, where we'll see the revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem, may we all be zeicha to achieve those levels and reach them in our lifetime for the benefit of ourselves, our families, Klal Yisrael, and Mit Hashem. We'll segue tomorrow from this into the following day. We'll say more about that tomorrow night. But now,